Welcome back to another episode on A Dose of Nikki. As always, I want to give thanks to my listeners for joining me every week to hear another topic or phrase. As I have said many times before, it really means a lot to me that this podcast is supported by you. We are welcoming new listeners from Mexico, Sweden, and Germany. Hello, and thank you for joining. Before we get started, I would like to introduce you to another small business. If you are looking for a professional resume service, please contact Renee Berthold's company, New Tech Neat. You can find this business online at newtechneat.com. That's spelled NUTECHNEAT.com. Or give them a call at 917-810-0173. A resume is like a passport. You may not always need it, but it's good to have. I love that. Again, that's newtechneat.com or call 917-810-0173. Please check it out. Now, the topic for today is, or shall we say the topic for the week is generosity. I always have to kind of chuckle or pause for a second when I mention the topic for the day, because I know these topics hopefully get to you, start to get you to think about things, right? That sometimes we just take for granted words, right? They're just words. So I'm hoping that when I mention the topic or the phrase of the day or week, that you all are absorbing this and saying to yourself, never thought of that. Never really thought about it. And go throughout your week or your day, possibly, touching upon that topic in your head with other people and have conversations. It's really nice to know that you can still continue the conversation even after you finish the podcast. So let me give you the meaning of generosity. The meaning of generosity is the willingness to freely give away one's resources. And those resources can be money, time, mentorship, whatever is your resource, okay? And it's a quality. Generosity is a quality of being kind, understanding, and not being what? Selfish, right? So I'm going to repeat that definition again. The meaning of generosity is the willingness to freely give away one's resources. That can be money, time, mentorship, whatever, okay? And it is a quality of being kind, understanding, and not being selfish, okay? Now, when I think of when I first thought of this, I thought of give. And as you can tell, give is in the definition for generosity. So giving is what it really means, giving something, okay? And then when I thought of giving, I thought of gifting. Now, the thought of gifting came into play because this is a fairly new word, a fairly new term used today in the form of gifting in the United States. You hear that often. And we're really good at creating words, making them into slang terms, make you believe that they're actual, not to say that this wasn't a word, but it wasn't used in the same context as what it is now today. And we're good at nicknaming things, nicknaming people, even if their names are short. We put a little spin on it. That's our little talent, I guess, in the United States. So gifting. Now, to gift something to someone suggests an intentional transfer. Okay? Intentional. So that's when I realized, okay, give and gifting are similar, but there's a slight difference. seems to be slightly different. So when you give, you do it freely without thinking twice about it, okay? When you gift, you are a bit more strategic. You plan for it, whether it be brief or long term, you plan for it. Okay, like you say, okay, the holidays are coming. I'm going to gift this person, that person, whatever, and you write out what you're going to do. That's planning it through. But to give is a slightly different thing. It's just freely giving. So, like, for example, you're in the store with someone and they ask you, hey, give me $1. And you would not think twice about it, right? You would just, if you have it, you're just going to reach in your wallet or your pocket or your purse and pull out the dollar and give it to them. Think nothing of it, not expecting anything in return, right? It's just freely giving. You get what I'm saying? Who knew? When you break it down, who knew? Maybe you out there did, but I didn't really break it down to that level. And now that I know, I'm like, okay. So let's think about this. Now that we have the definitions under our belt, are you generous? Do you give freely? Or are there limitations to your generosity? Do you give because you feel you have to? Do you? For example, it's Valentine's Day, right? Are you generous with your partner, the significant other, spouse, etc.? Or do you gift your partner, significant other, spouse, whoever it may be? Do you do that? Okay, let's try this one. It is a friend or family member's birthday. Are you generous or do you gift the person? Let's try another one. All right. So if someone you knew was sick and you go to visit and spend time with them, what are you doing? Are you being generous or gifting them with your time? Now, when you really put generosity into perspective, you will find that it is a quality that do not cost you any money, nothing. However, it is priceless. There's no amount that you can put on it. No. The reward is so pleasing to the soul, and you are now an accomplished person. You have put a smile on the sick person's face you visited. You have warmed their heart and spirit. You have gained cool points for your wellness as well, right? You've gained cool points. You feel good. You feel warm. You feel real good that you've made someone else happy. Now, this is a topic for you to really think about. Being generous is such a great attribute to have. If you find yourself not being generous, I want you to pause and think about the reason why. Why am I not generous? Say to yourself, why am I not generous? Why am I not being generous? I don't understand. What's the big deal? Think about it. If you were on the receiving end of someone else being generous to you, how would you feel? That's a good trait to have. Why wouldn't you want to have that? Try working on it. Being generous is also contagious. Did you know that? Just like a cold. Someone in your household got a cold, you get a cold too, 9 times out of 10, right? I remember having an associate, I'll call this person, who did not tip at all. And so when I would go like to the mechanic, I inquire who is the person or who was the person who worked on my car, and I would give them a tip. And I would say something like, lunch is on me, you know? They would be shocked, but that's just something I do, and I walk away. Or I go to the meat market and the associate asked me, no, I'm sorry, I go to the meat market and the person who cut all of the meats for me, I give them a tip. And one day, my associate asked me, why do you tip? Why do you get that? When the person they're just doing their job, right? The person, the mechanic, the person in the meat market who cut up my meat and everything, I tipped them, and that seemed to have been a problem for that person. And I said, I just looked at her and I said, because I want to. I didn't know why I had to explain that. I didn't understand it, and I didn't feel I needed to. And from that moment on, guess what? Years passed, and now they tip freely. Great example of it being what? Contagious. So, bring generosity into your makeup. Please, watch how different you feel and how influential you will become. And until next time, on A Dose of Nikki, be well, my people. Be well.